Okay, so here we are, exercise number 1, and it has to do with paint prep. We're on page number 41 here, so let's read about Frank a little bit. So Frank has his own painting company and needs to determine how long it takes to paint each customer's house or office, because then he knows how much he needs to charge people. So he knows that 2/3 of the time is preparation. This time the painter needs to prepare the walls, sand them, wash them, and cover the floor and furniture with plastic. So 2/3 of his time is getting all that done. Frank's going to paint 3 rooms in Sally's house. The job's going to take 24 hours. How many hours will it take Frank's crew to prepare the rooms? Okay, so one of the things that's important here is this word right here, 2/3 of the time. The time is always how long it's going to take to do the job. So in this case, it's 24 hours. 2/3 of 24 hours. Doesn't matter how many rooms Sally wants painted. We just care about how much time. So how many hours will it take Frank's crew to prepare the rooms? 2/3 times the total time. So 2/3 times 24 hours. And remember, we make that over 1. Multiply the top numbers. How many of you did that in your head? 3 times 1. So 48 times 3. What problem do you write to answer the question? Well, now that we look over here, it would be this one here, right? 2/3 times 24. The answer to the problem is, well, do you see a 48 over 3 over here? Yep. When you convert the improper fraction, the number of hours it will take to prepare the room is 48 divided by 3 would make that into an improper fraction. So find the answer there. How many hours will it take to paint the rooms? Okay, so that would be the same number. Is this, well, actually, you've got how many hours will it take to paint the room? So we're not prepping anymore. So now instead of 2/3, let's look at the little pie again. We're going to break that into 3 equal parts. And so how many parts does the whole have? 3. How many of those thirds is it going to take to prep? 1, 2. How many is left to paint? How many parts is painting? 1. So 1/3 times how many hours is it going to take? 24 will tell you how much time it's actually going to take to paint. The 2/3 was how much it was going to take to prep. So the 1/3 times 24 will be how much it's actually going to take to paint. Okay, so that is lesson 1. Let's see if we can find lesson 2 here. Let's see, lesson 2 has to do with dessert. Okay, it's this one here. So, God, what are they doing with these names? I don't have any idea how to pronounce it. Aish is preparing dinner or dessert for a medical conference in the hotel. Well, let's see what we've got here. She needs 9 cups of berries to make and serve the dessert. She'll use 2/3, and again, look what we got. 2/3 of times the berries. 2/3 times 9 to make the dessert. And 1/3 of the berries when she serves the dessert, probably to like put on top or something. How many cups of berries will she need to make the dessert? Okay, so 2/3 to make it and 1/3 to say put on top. So remember the of here, 2/3 of 9. So you're going to multiply that, and that will tell you how many cups of berries she'll need to make the dessert. And that's what you'll do here for 2. So the problem would be 2/3 times 9. Okay. So how many cups here of berries does she need to make the dessert? Well, whatever number you get here, you're going to have to make it into an improper or a mixed number. So you're going to have to divide in order to get how many cups she's going to need. And how many cups of berries does she need to serve the dessert? Okay, so that's going to be 1/3 of the amount of berries, 1/3 of 9, and that would give you this answer. All right, exercise 3. Christina works for a catering company. Her boss asked her to increase, let's get this up here, increase the salad dressing to make 1.5 times the amount. Okay, so Christina first needs to figure out how much of the ingredients she needs. Here's a recipe. So here's the current recipe right here. She's making the recipe 1.5 times whatever it was. So we're going to take 1.5 times whatever numbers are here. So all we need to do is take 1.5, this 1.5 times each of these numbers. So 1.5 times 1.5. Let's write that out. 1 1/2 times 1 1/2. So remember, whenever you're multiplying mixed numbers, you have to change them to improper. So 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3 over 2, times 3 over 2. Multiply the top number, multiply the bottom number. Okay? So 9/4 cups doesn't really help me. So what I have to do is divide, and I get 2, 8, 1, 1/4. So I change it to a mixed number, 2 1/4, and that's what I get there. So do that for each one of these. Multiply 1.5 times 2/3, 1/4, 2 teaspoons, and you should be done with exercise number 3. So exercise number 4, top of page 43. So we're only going to do the top of this. We'll do exercise 5, 6, and 7 or whatever in the next video. So we have a food pantry. One of her jobs is to keep a log of how many pallets of food she receives from a food bank. At the beginning of the week, she receives 5 1/3 pallets of food. By the end of the week, she's given out a bunch of them, so she only has 1 2/3 pallets left. They're asking us to find how many pallets of food did she give out. So what is the difference between 5 1/3 and 1 2/3? So when I said that, I used the word difference. Difference always means subtraction. So we started out with 5 1/3. We gave out a certain number. We don't know what that number is, but if we take away 1 2/3, that will tell us how many we gave away. So we had 5 1/3. We only have 1 2/3 left. So what's the difference between these two numbers? And that's what we're looking for. So if you remember, when we were doing subtraction before, the denominators are the same, so we're good shape. But what I'm going to ask you to do is change these to improper fractions, because look what we've got here. So we can take 5 minus 1 and get 4, but I can't take 1 minus 2. That makes it a little more difficult. So if I change both of these to mixed numbers, that would make it helpful. So 5 times 3 is 15 plus 1. So we have 16 over 3 minus 1 times 3 is 3 plus 2 is 5 over 3. Now I have 11 over 3. 11 over 3 doesn't really tell me how many pallets, so I'm going to change it back into a mixed number by dividing. So I'm going to do this, divide by 3, 11 divided by 3. 3 times 3 is 9, 2. So I've got 3 2/3 are how many pallets I gave away. And we're gonna skip this part here because the way they do it is just kind of goofy. This makes more sense to me. Hopefully it makes sense to you as well. All right, so the next video we'll go over exercise 5 and exercise, looks like it's just 6.